In real life, if you're an introverted weirdo, chances are you're gonna stay a turbo virgin throughout high school. But in the world of anime, even the most deadbeat guys can end up with the hottest girls. And that's exactly what happens in these 10 anime where the most popular girl in school falls for the shy kid in her class. We're starting off the list with The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten, which just happens to be the latest romantic comedy out right now.
待っていてください。どうぞ。
The anime follows a high schooler named Amane, who lives like a caveman. I mean, seriously, dude, not even the rats in my attic live like this. As you can imagine, Amane doesn't really follow a healthy lifestyle, but this miserable way of life is exactly what draws his neighbor Mahiru to him. Mahiru, who's known as the Angel, is simply perfect. She is extremely popular, diligent, and very responsible. But most importantly, she is really kind, and she wants to help Amane get his shit together. What comes out of this strange relationship is a show that has so far managed to deliver on its promise. The chemistry between these two is interesting to say the least, and I can't wait to see where things go from here. At number 9, we have Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie, a show that reminded us that there's no freaking way anime can be real. I mean, just look at this premise. We have a girl who is in running for Waifu of the Year, and she's in love with a guy who can't even walk to school without breaking a few bones. Just ridiculous. And that's not even it. It turns out that despite looking like an absolute angel, Shikimori can be a horrifying girl if someone tries to mess with her boyfriend Izumi.
Just do me a favor and stop making me worry so much.
Using skill seemingly given to her by Bruce Lee himself, Shikimori manages to save Izumi from one mishap after another. It didn't really receive a great response from the fans, but I don't think it's a bad anime by any means. The next anime on our list is also dominating the winter season with its second season. I'm sure many of you have figured out that I'm talking about the ultra-popular Don't Toy With Me Miss Nagatoro, which gives us the most famous example of a romance between polar opposites. Our female lead, Nagatoro, is an extremely lively and popular girl. Her love interest, Naoto, or senpai on the other hand, is a friendless, maidenless, wimpy kid who can't even look a girl in the eye. Now on the surface, Nagatoro might come off as a bully in this relationship.
You sure? Well, in that case, why don't you help me put these on then?
But as the show progresses, it becomes clear how much she likes her senpai. Her antics might be uncomfortable for Naoto, but they also help him come out of his introverted shell and experience the high school we all dream of. It's a wild show and it has its flaws, but if you're looking for a light-hearted romantic comedy, you should definitely consider this goofy anime. Next up at number 7, we have Komi Can't Communicate, which has won many hearts thanks to its wholesome and cute story.
Komi!
The anime follows our protagonist Komi-san, who has trouble making friends because of her communication disorder. Without ever even talking to anyone, she has become the most popular girl in her school thanks to her looks. But while other people consider her to be perfect, her classmate Tadano realizes what she's going through and decides to help her. Now, even though the premise sounds sad, the anime is anything but. The way Kami interacts with her new friends, and especially Tadano, is both adorable and downright hilarious. And this great humor is exactly why it has such a huge fan following. Moving on, we have Real Girl, which has divided opinions ever since it first aired 5 years ago. The anime, which started off as a mediocre rom-com, did a 180 and became a much more mature and interesting show in its second season. True to its name, the anime tells the story of Hikari, whose otaku mindset gets completely changed when school idol Iroha enters his life. Hikari finally realizes that he's been a dumb schmuck for thinking 2D girls were better than the real thing. Iroha is charming, and her personality allows Hikari to shine. After taking all sorts of over-the-top twists and turns, their story ends on a high note. Now, I'm not saying that this is a flawless show, but despite its imperfections, it's a bittersweet experience that you shouldn't miss out on. Up next at the number 5 spot, we have Fuufu Ijou, a show with such a long and weirdly phrased English name that I am not even going to bother to use it here. This romantic drama is about a school where boys and girls are paired up and forced to live together like a real couple. I know, this premise sounds like a middle schooler's wet dream, but trust me, it isn't some shallow, ecchi garbage.
Can we take a breather in the next room?
I mean, sure, it has some rather steamy scenes, but there is some real character development here. The love triangle between Jiro, Shiori, and Akari really works because of some great dialogue and reasonable plot points. It is by no means a masterpiece, but fun romantic comedies often aren't. Coming up at number 4, we have probably the most wholesome show on the list. I'm talking about the instant classic Horimiya, an anime that broke all sorts of viewership records despite being a slice of life romance. The story revolves around Hori, who falls in love with her mysterious classmate Miyamura after she discovers his quirky side.
Why are you blushing?
It feels kind of strange is all.
While the two of them are head over heels in love with each other, the pair looks strange to everyone else because Hori is the star of the school, while Miyamura doesn't even talk to people. But their contrast in personalities pull them towards each other and create a romance that warms your heart even with such a simple plot. At the prestigious number 3 spot, we have the Quintessential Quintuplets,
Itsuki, Miku, Yotsuba, Nino, Ichika!
a show where the nerdy MC is surrounded by not 1, but 5 girls who are trying to win his heart. It all starts when cash-strapped Futaro has to teach 5 sisters who are in the same grade as him. While this sounds like a typical harem storyline, the anime is unlike any harem show I've ever seen. Despite being a romantic comedy, the characters mature in a very natural and honest way. There are conflicts, betrayals, regrets, and accomplishments, but most importantly, there's so much humanity in these characters, which is exactly why you can relate to them time and time again. It really is a hidden gem in the rom-com genre. Next up, we have another harem classic, Saekano, or How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend as it's more commonly known.
どうしてそんなに慌ててるわけ?
It tells the story of the famous hardcore geek Tomoya, who is trying to make an ecchi game with 3 of his friends and classmates. In this creative process, his relationship with these ultra-popular girls evolves as some new bonds are formed, while some older ones are severed for good. While it may seem like a light-hearted story at first, be warned, there will be some tears as Tomoya is forced to make an impossible choice. But even with all the heartbreak, you'll be able to find some touching moments that make this entire journey worth it. Now, before we talk about the luckiest guy in all of anime, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that we can keep bringing you cool content like this. Finally, at number 1, we have My Dress Up Darling. I'm sure no one is surprised by this choice, since this was one of the most popular and well-received anime of 2022. The romance between Gojo and Marin was absolutely peak entertainment.
I beg you, please help me make the perfect cosplay!
I'll help you.
Now, if you're an alien visiting Earth and don't know anything about this show, let me give you some idea of how the story goes. Our protagonist Gojo is an introvert who is learning to make traditional Japanese dolls. Because of some past emotional trauma, he likes to keep to himself and has no friends. This all changes when out of nowhere, the most popular girl in school, Marin, asks him to make cosplay for her. Gojo reluctantly agrees to help her, and this marks the beginning of their relationship, which blossoms beautifully. Both of these characters are extremely charming and have enough charisma to keep you coming back for more week after week. There's a lot of romantic maturity here, which is often missing in romance anime. So all in all, this is a masterpiece in the rom-com genre which you just can't skip. And that wraps up today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.